Melissa from Melissa versus Fibromyalgia here. I want to talk about something very important today. Now, I don't know why I keep getting diagnosed with conditions that we just need more advocacy for, but here we are, and I have this channel, so let's talk about it. Endometriosis and fibromyalgia. Let's talk about what they each are, and let's talk about the connection. So, endometriosis and fibromyalgia are two of the most common chronic illnesses affecting women today. While they are separate conditions, they share many similar symptoms, and they can be often misdiagnosed. In this video, we're going to talk about the causes, the symptoms, the treatments, and my experience with both endometriosis and fibromyalgia. So what is endometriosis? It is a condition where the tissue, similar to the lining of the uterus, grows outside of the uterus. It causes pain and discomfort. It's estimated that 1 in 10 women of reproductive age suffer from endometriosis. The exact cause is unknown, but it's believed that genetics and hormonal imbalances play a role. The most common symptoms of endometriosis include painful periods, but they do not always cause painful periods. It all manifests differently, as you know if you've been on this chronic illness journey for any amount of time. But painful period is a hallmark for me. Chronic pelvic pain, pain during sex, heavy periods, issues with bladder and bowel and urination, all sorts of things. Think about that area and think about what can be affected, and it could be, and infertility. But it is important to note that not all women with endometriosis will experience all of these symptoms. For example, infertility, which is often noted when discussing endometriosis, is estimated to affect 30 to 50% of women with endometriosis, right? So it sounds like a big figure. However, that leaves 50 to 70% for whom infertility is not an issue, and I'm one of them. Because for a while there, I thought of endometriosis because I had been going back and forth to the doctor with my extremely heavy, painful periods, and I was like, well, I haven't had a problem having babies, so it can't be that. Wrong. The endometriosis specialist who will perform my operation said that while some pain during periods is fairly normal, but pain that doesn't respond to ibuprofen and is overwhelming and stops you going about your day is not normal. He said there's no spectrum. It's not like, there's a spectrum of pain. Basically, it's normal period pain. You can take ibuprofen and generally get on with it, or there's endometriosis. But despite explaining this to people for more than 20 years, I was ignored. Basically, people kind of chalked it up to fibromyalgia. Oh well, dysmenorrhea, heavy, painful periods, just part of fibromyalgia. Oh well, get on with it. But it wasn't until it got very bad in 2022 that people started to take me seriously. But by that point, it was escalating very fast, and the public system couldn't keep up because it was very behind after being shut down for the pandemic. Many women experience this. It takes a long time to be diagnosed with endometriosis, and we haven't got a good system for treating it yet. So more advocacy and awareness is needed, and that's what I'm trying to do here. There is no cure for endometriosis, but there are several treatments available to help manage conditions. So you've got pain medication, right? You're just trying to manage each month or each time as you're going. Hormone therapy, so most of us have been thrown on birth control for some period of time, hoping to slow down the progression before we need any further treatment. Surgery can help. Hysterectomy, which is what I'm going to have, can be helpful in the fact that it takes away your periods, but it is not a cure for endometriosis. You must also excise the endometriosis, and hysterectomy is kind of like a last resort. They tend to try to excise the endometriosis first. It depends on your situation and where you're at and your context and all of that. And holistic lifestyle management, which we'll talk a little bit because under the treatments for fibromyalgia, a lot of it crosses over, and you'll see why. But pelvic floor physiotherapy can be very helpful. So let's talk a little bit about fibromyalgia, just in case you're here because you know more about endometriosis than you do fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is a chronic condition that causes widespread pain across all 4 quadrants of your body, so upper, lower, left and right, and fatigue. It's estimated that about 2 to 10% of the population experience fibromyalgia, with women more likely to be diagnosed than men, but there are men who have it. The exact cause is unknown, but it's believed to be related to all sorts of things, abnormal levels of certain chemicals, genetics. There's a lot of ideas, but they don't fully know for sure. They do know that there is a link between post-viral illnesses and fibromyalgia and other kinds of trauma like post-childbirth, hormonal changes like in menopause. Can you see there how it might be related to endometriosis, hormones playing a part there? But the most common symptoms of fibromyalgia include the widespread pain, the fatigue, trouble sleeping, and brain fog, cognitive dysfunction. So as we know, many conditions can sit alongside fibromyalgia and be blamed on fibromyalgia. So conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, depression, anxiety, they're their own conditions, but they may coexist with fibromyalgia and endometriosis. But we've got to be really careful about teasing out the strands of which is which. So there's no cure for fibromyalgia, but there are many treatment options. And I share a lot about this on this channel and on my blog. I share everything that I can because I have a complex, holistic plan that has taken me from moderate to mild, and I want you to know about it all. So you want to work on sleep, and that's going to include sleep hygiene and medicine, very likely medicine, especially if you have long-term trouble with sleeping. It's going to include certain medicines. For me, low-dose naltrexone makes a very, very big difference. Pain relief and learning to manage pain, both naturally and medicinally, gentle movement, so that's walking, yoga, all that kind of thing. Pacing, so learning to use what you have well in terms of energy management and pain management, and eating for optimal nutrition, making sure that you're not deficient in anything, making sure that you're getting enough of the good stuff and not eating any of the stuff that's going to slow your body down. There's a lot you can do. So do check out the blog post I've linked below because that's got a lot of resources for you and will help you. So endometriosis and fibromyalgia, the connection. So they're separate conditions, but you can see that there's some similarities there. Some women with endometriosis also suffer from fibromyalgia and vice versa. There is a Medical News Today article that shared a 2019 study found that rates of fibromyalgia were 6% higher in women with endometriosis. This can make diagnosis and treatment even more challenging. It's also believed that hormonal balances associated with endometriosis can contribute to the development of fibromyalgia, but you can see it's all a bit messy because you've got hormones going on. Fibromyalgia can often come on around menopause, a whole thing. And central sensitization. So if the brain is living with a certain level of pain, it kind of adapts and learns to expect more pain, a condition known as central sensitization, which is common across both. Additionally, the chronic pain associated with both conditions can lead to depression and anxiety. Of course, it is a natural and logical thing to experience depression and anxiety when you are living in pain, especially if people don't believe you, if you can't get proper help. It's a real thing. Again, we want to tease it out and make sure we're treating everything appropriately and not throwing everything in the one basket like they did for me. For many years, I was told that my heavy, painful periods were just the fibromyalgia. Par for the course, get on with it. So I had to get very bad before I was taken seriously. I have very good pain management mechanisms, so I think it got pretty bad before I had to beg for help. But by that point, the public system was so overwhelmed, I had to go private because it got bad so fast. It was unbelievable how bad, how quickly it got. So I tried everything natural. I tried all of the things that they recommend, all of the, eat this way and try magnesium and try bioidentical hormones, which I've written about. Find the link in the blog post associated. Tried all of that stuff, and I have a very good pain management plan. I have a good holistic management plan. It was just past that world. So when you're managing both endometriosis and fibromyalgia, it is important to take a holistic approach, and that includes addressing both the physical and the emotional aspects of it, looking at pain management, looking at hormone therapy, looking at other holistic factors, looking at diet, looking at exercise, looking at stress reduction techniques, calming the parasympathetic nervous system, making sure you learn how to go back into the rest and digest response, because that level of pain is going to set off our sympathetic nervous system and the stress response. They will be helpful. Sleep, of course, is vital in helping to manage the nervous system, help the pain response, but of course both the conditions can interfere with pain. And these things are helpful, but you're probably going to need extra help. So I share what I do and what works for me and as many resources as I can give you, but you're going to have to work carefully with your healthcare provider. And you're going to have to push them if you don't feel like they're treating you appropriately. If you're losing days and days to pain that you cannot manage, no matter what you do, you need them to help you. And work with them. It can be wonderful when you get a healthcare provider who wants to work with you, and how you can like brainstorm together and how you can come up with a comprehensive treatment plan. But you do really need to take the wheel. You do need to take the lead for yourself and advocate for yourself. I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't. So I really encourage you to do that. And that's what this video is about, and that's what all these resources are about, because there is hope. Both of these conditions are complex and challenging, but we can improve our quality of life. And there isn't a cure yet, but there are several treatments and lots of things we can put into our management plan. I believe by taking a holistic approach and addressing both the physical and emotional aspects of these conditions, we can find relief and improve our overall well-being. So I look forward to sharing my journey as I learn more about endometriosis, as I have my operation, as I'm recovering. So do make sure that you subscribe to check all of that out as I'm going, and do check out all of the resources, because I have a lot here for you. This is literally my mission, is to create all these resources for you. And you're welcome to come and join my Pay What You Can yoga studio. I create yoga specifically for people with chronic pain and fatigue. There are definitely physical classes, definitely stretching classes, but most of my tools are aimed at helping us to manage. So targeted stretches, meditation, breath work, all those things we can do to help manage our conditions holistically. So check that out below, and I'll catch you again real soon.